Hey, welcome everybody. So lovely to see you, and I'd like to thank you for taking this time to be with me, and most importantly, taking this time for you. So just like as we gather, if you have Bergamot with you, let's invite her in. So maybe just take a little drop on your fingers. We could do the little point on Ir Shen Men, which I'll talk through for anybody who doesn't know. So just really make sure you take in her fragrance. And for anybody who hasn't got her, although it looks like most of you have, she's beautifully light, uplifting, but she's an absolutely unique oil because she calms us at the same time. So that biodynamics of fragrance is very unusual, because usually citrus wakens us up and lightens us, but they don't usually calm us as well. So she's like a real key oil. So maybe just sit for a moment and just see what feeling she brings to you. If anybody wants to share, please do. And maybe in a way this could be our meditation that, well, before we begin, if anybody's got, no, let's go straight in. So let's just take this moment to come together. As we begin, I'm going to light a candle, and I would like to mention somebody very special to us who I think most people here know, and that is the precious Mary Malloy, who had surgery today, but she's through the surgery. But still, I just want to send love and healing and good recovery to her. It was a routine operation, thankfully, but still, just to wish her well. And to each of you here, thank you for being here. And anybody else that you feel just might need a little bit more peace, slowing down, love, whatever, just take this moment to just be quiet together. And as we do, what I'm going to invite you to do, we might as well go straight in with it, is if you make sure you've got bergamot on your little finger, and together then I'm just going to invite you to do this little aroma points on the ear. So for anybody who doesn't know, it's the place in the top of the ear. If you have the cards, there's a card there, and if you put your finger in the top of your ear there's a little bump, and remember it's really light touch. And then we just come together for a few minutes until we feel a shift or something, and even hold a bit longer when you feel a shift, and then we'll come back together. So just stay with yourselves, don't disturb yourselves. And just notice how you're feeling. If anything comes up that you could just let go of, just allow it to float up and away. And just allow Bergamot to do her magic and bring a lightness to your system. So just stay with yourselves. I'm going to say a few things as we're just settling. It's beautiful, this settling, and I thank you each for your presence. And I'm smiling because I had all my notes prepared and I'm going to do everything backwards, which feels like the perfect way around. Because in actual fact, Bergamot is the perfect opener to anything new. I feel almost I don't need to say any words, but it feels the perfect start to the session, so thank you. One of her qualities is this lovely, can almost feel like she's taken a layer of what you don't need away so that you can be open to the next thing. She's got this lovely reset quality, but in time it'd be lovely to hear how anybody feels if they would like to share, or we can just be. So does anybody want to say anything?
I'll share, Corinna. It's just very, very calming. She felt much more, because I'm, using the oils quite a bit at the moment. She felt very, very citrusy to me today. Less Earl Grey tea, and there was a strong hint of lemon for me today, which is quite interesting. Yeah, just very. She seems very cleansing and very clean somehow. Mm.
Viv, were you going to say something?
Yes, thank you. I feel very settled, but also quite joyful. So
Oh,
joyful about, yes. Yeah.
I think it is that lovely quality that she has, that she somehow allows you to feel a little bit more woken up, but calm at the same time, you're saying. Lovely. Thank you. Lovely. So I'm going to go into my little talk. So the idea today was firstly to get you lovely people together, and it's just so lovely to see you all. So thank you for being here. And really just to introduce the new season in the Ayurvedic way of looking at life. And I'm going to try and do it in a way, I don't know how much everybody knows about Ayurveda, but just really going back to the beginning, that really Ayurveda has quite a different way of looking at life, being human, and all the things than we're used to in the Western world. But a way that deeply resonates because it's all connected to nature and all things that somewhere in us we deeply know already. So as I'm sharing things, it may be that you sort of think, well, Corinna, you're not telling me anything new, I know that. But on the other hand, you could be thinking, well, what's she talking about? I don't understand that at all. Because it is quite a different perspective if it's something that you don't know very much about yet. And essentially, so Ayurveda looks at absolutely everything in the world, a table, a leaf, a blanket, anything is made up of the 5 elements. So that's earth, water, fire, space, and air. And it takes those 5 elements and has created the doshas, which I'm sure many of you do know about the doshas. And there are 3 doshas, and one is Vata, which we've been working with recently, many of us, which is deeply connected to our nervous system. So we've all got all the doshas in us, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. But Vata is the space and air. So when we've got too much movement in us, then our nervous system can feel really dysregulated and we can feel anxious and unsettled and ungrounded. So anyone who hasn't been with me the last couple of months, we've been really working with grounding and balancing our Vata. But when Vata is in balance, it's all our lovely creative energy, ability to adapt quickly to things, and beautiful sort of fine, fast qualities, that movement and air. And then we have the Pitta dosha, which is fire and earth. And Pitta, obviously being fire, is to do with the fire in our system. So our digestion, our passion, our ability to be really focused and driven. But when Pitta's out of balance, we can become really fiery, inflamed, our digestion goes off, and it can be quite unpleasant. And the Pitta season, so Vata we've just come through the winter. Pitta is the heat, so it's in the summer. And Kapha, which the one I'm talking about today, is the lovely springtime. And Kapha is earth and water. So as I say, we've all got all the constitutions, all the doshas within us, but the Kapha constitution is, when it's in balance, it's really grounded, steady, stable, really capable. But when it's out of balance, we get really stuck, a bit lethargic, like there's too much earth, there's too much heaviness. And what's wonderful about Ayurveda, it has very, very simple remedies that if we're looking at Kapha at the moment, so if we get too much earth and water, we get to feel really stuck, and although it's spring, sort of unable to get out. It's this, I really just need to get moving, but I can't. And so we have different ways. There are 3 key things. I'm going to try and keep it simple. Basically, we all have a combination of the doshas within us, which is our blueprint. So a person might mainly be a Pitta dosha. I'm a Pitta dosha. So I've got a lot of fire and that sort of energy in me. Somebody might be a Kapha, somebody might be a Vata, and we're all key thing to understand who you are. And oh, my internet's going again. Can you hear me?
We
lost you for a mo, but you're back.
Am I back? Good.
Can you just repeat that bit, Corinna?
Yes. So we're looking at three key things. One, what is our constitution? So what combination of Pitta, Vata, and Kapha we are. And once we know that, the nearer we are to that combination, the nearer we're in our element, if you like, because that's who we are, that's who we're supposed to be, that's who we came in the world as, and that's us, okay? And that's called our prakriti, okay? Then the second thing that's really important to know in Ayurveda is something called the vikriti. And that is the parts of your element, how you should be, which parts are out of balance. So have you got too much Vata? Is there too much air and movement? Are you feeling ungrounded at the moment? Is there too much Kapha that you're feeling really, really heavy? Or is there too much Pitta that you're feeling really fiery? And so that's the second thing to look at. And in a way, that's the most sort of crucial thing, because that can really make us feel out of balance. And that's where we get symptoms and so on. And then the third important thing to consider is what time of year it is. What season are we in? And especially if we know our constitution or not, and we're pretty near balance, that would be the key thing that we're working with, that they're working with the seasons. And so when it's Kapha season, there are certain things that are really supportive to us, that are going to really help us transition the season really, really easily. So I hope does that sort of make sense so far? Yeah. So, as I say, we're in Kapha season now. And so this is earth and water. And if we're looking out at nature now, I mean, what's so glorious now the clocks have gone back is that it's still light. I was like thinking, will I need my light today or not? But not at the moment. It's beautiful. And, you know, just naturally we can feel this lightness, this excitement, that the buds are out, that life, you know, everything's coming to life again. And that's just such a magical thing after the winter. However, at the same time, what's happening in nature is it's real melting. So everything is warming up and melting. And because we are part of nature, that's happening in us as well. So what that can mean is that over the Vata season, over the winter, we will have naturally built up possibly another layer of fat or warmth or, you know, whatever we've needed to carry us through the winter to feel more grounded. And so this is the natural time that is the time to shed that. We don't need it anymore. And so it can be often a time of year that we get what we think are colds or any sort of allergies or, you know, things like that. And but what's interesting in Ayurveda, a cold at this time of year is actually called a hot. And that is because really what's happening is as things are warming up, we're warming up, and you can feel a lot more sort of mucousy and sort of bunged up, and things really need to get moving. And so that's really simply the body doing its thing. Simply the body thinking, okay, how am I going to get rid of this now? And so it'll have a cold and things start moving and there's liquid and everything sort of, your wonderful body sorts itself out and it's just doing what's natural at this time of year. But there's also things that Ayurveda offer to really help things move along without having to get a cold or, you know, just staying on top of things, if you like. And I'm going to share some of those things with you today. And primarily it's to do with food and practices and lovely resources like Bergamot. Any questions of what I've shared so far? No, we're all good. Lovely. So I'm just going to check that I am on track, which I am. Lovely. So again, I want to somehow try and keep it simple, but obviously give you enough to have some sort of understanding. But Ayurvedic food and nutrition is one of my passions, as some of you know, for coming on my cookery. I do live cookery sessions for anyone who hasn't experienced that yet, which I absolutely love. And in fact, we've got a Kapha one coming up at the end of, I think on the 30th. But when I work with Ayurvedic food, I really offer it up as a new relationship with food, because that's what it was for me, and that's what it is, I think, for many people beginning to understand the Ayurvedic view. And that is because in Ayurveda, we don't look at food as, you know, in that sort of scientific ways, or even like looking at carbs, or this is the superfood, or you must eat that, or, you know, the word diet doesn't feature in Ayurveda at all, because at the end of the day, what is it and what matters food wise is firstly that you have really good digestion. So in Ayurveda, having good digestion is key, and that's not just digesting food, but also digesting life events, you know, so in all the ways, all the things that we need to digest to be able to stay clear and present and as ourselves. But when we're looking at food, we actually look at the qualities of food. So when I say qualities, what I mean by that is something hot or cold? Is it heavy or light? Is it dry or moist? And so on. And these are called the gunas. And if we look at, let's look at Kapha, because we're in the Kapha season. And if we have a Kapha imbalance, which if for anyone who has a Kapha nature may feel it more so, so this sort of heaviness and feeling a bit stuck as we're going on, or really experiencing mucus and you know, build up, things like that. That is because the gunas connected with Kapha are, so Kapha is heavy, moist, slow, stable, and soft, naturally. So that's the natural Kapha energy. So if we get too much of that, you know, if we're feeling too heavy or too moist, too slow, and even too stable is not always great, or too soft, then that's what the imbalance is. We're feeling those things, and then that can lead to symptoms of, you know, we can feel very low, we can feel unmotivated. There are certain conditions connected to a Kapha that lead on to things, you know, to do with different illnesses, which I won't go into now. But obviously, so this is what's so simple about Ayurveda. Does anybody know what we do if we're feeling too many of those things? We bring in the opposite. So it's like for like and like and opposite. So if we're feeling too heavy, we bring in things that are light. So in many ways, that's what Bergamot's doing. Okay. If we're feeling too moist, we bring dry things in. If we're feeling too slow, we really need to start movement. And even though our Kapha energy might be, no, I'm going under the sheets again, I'm hibernating, for us to start moving is really going to help balance things. And again, feeling that stable, we need to have a little bit of a mix up and do something completely different, to change that energy. And then if we're feeling too soft, we need harder things. And all of these things go down to even affecting what our stool looks like. Okay, so it's that, deep, I suppose, So the way we do this with food is that really at this time of year, then what makes sense is that we're needing to dry things out. If there's a lot of heaviness, there's a lot of mucus, we're needing to dry things out, we're needing to move things along. And the things that do that the most are, so let me just I'm going to bring another thing in here. When we're looking at food, there are 6 tastes, and that is sweet, salty, sour, pungent, astringent, and bitter. And for each dosha, there are 3 that really support the balance of the dosha, and there are 3 that will make the dosha even more of what it is, so take it out of balance. And so for the Kapha dosha, pungent is really supportive. So to start eating your very pungent curries and so on is really going to move things through. To start in the morning with ginger and lemon, lovely warm ginger and lemon drink, again is going to move things through. Or bringing, ginger to your meal, black pepper, turmeric, things like this is really just going to help the system be as it needs to be. Okay. It gets a bit complex that if you've got heat going on, you wouldn't bring too much of that in. But really what I'm focusing on today is the season and what traditionally is recommended to help us go through the season. So pungent is one taste. And then another taste is bitter. And what's really special about bitter foods is that they really lighten, cleanse, and clear the system. So obviously that's going to be really supportive to us right now, and again to lighten us to be able to go out and have our full energy and feel vibrant and allow ourselves to blossom along with the spring and the summer. So foods which are considered bitter are things. Does anybody want to guess what some bitter foods are? Maybe I should throw it out there. Any ideas, anybody?
My go-to is like dandelion or rocket or that kind of.
Absolutely, Charlotte. Absolutely. So exactly, dandelion, rocket, watercress, chicory, radicchio, spinach, and herbs like parsley, coriander. So these are really, really spring's nature medicine. And they do that lovely cleansing effect to our systems, because this time of year our liver can be quite hot. So if you're noticing that you're feeling more angry than usual, that's again your body sorting out. And actually what Mary said about the gallbladder and bitter and all things like that, that is such a thing in Ayurveda, that if you're noticing certain emotions, that actually can be softened by what we eat as well. But that's a whole other layer of Ayurvedic teaching to do with the different qualities and why different foods are not, certain foods aren't eaten because they bring in bitter and not very nice qualities. So that's bitter. And pungent, so I did mention, so ginger, black pepper, turmeric, onions and garlic, although in Ayurveda that's one of the foods that we see more as medicine, so not to have it a lot because it brings these more sort of bitter feelings into the body. And even things like mint can sometimes be bitter. It's cooling, but it's quite pungent as well. And then the third is astringent. So the beauty of astringent foods is that they're drying and toning. So again, if we've got too much moisture, so instead of allowing that moisture to build up, if we bring drying foods out, it's going to just naturally help that to happen in the system and really tone the tissues and just keep that balance. And astringent foods are things like lentils, chickpeas, beans, asparagus, pomegranate, and actually apples and pears are as well. Some foods have a few qualities, so like apple and pears will be sweet as well, but they have astringent qualities in. So that's just some guidance on what's really recommended in this season. And then equally, we would look at what to reduce. And I wonder if anybody's got any ideas, because the thing is, when we're in balance, we're naturally feeling these things. I'm sure many of you are thinking, oh, I start to want to eat more lighter food and maybe even, salady things as we get warmer, but, often we don't, we're not always that connected to what the body needs. But anybody got any ideas of what may be good to reduce at this time of year? Okay, so basically it's the heavier things. So any sort of heavy wheat-based foods, your pastas, your bread, still to have it, but just to have smaller portions. And any sort of like heavy, dense meals. So like in the Vata season, the natural thing in Ayurveda would be to have your comfort food, your big stews, your roast dinners, and your things like that. But now we're coming, so it's the lighter foods. So, and dairy is another one. Dairy is very important in Ayurveda, but again, dairy is going to build mucus. So really to lessen dairy at this time of year, and then we bring it back in again later, so, and it's not about not having it, it's about the percentages, the balance of things, and most importantly feeling into what your body needs. Okay, so just see, so in a way we've done Bergamot. I was going to say a little bit about the oils, but I think just all having that experience together, hopefully just felt, especially those who have experienced vetiver, the opposite qualities of what Bergamot brings in to what vetiver does in that sort of really heavy, rooted way. Okay. And then just maybe finally just connected to practices, because practices in Ayurveda are an important aspect, and just the simple thing of moving more. So in Vata season, we perhaps, we still exercise and maybe do sort of more gentle yoga and flow and things like that. But, this time of year, there is a reason why you see lots of people beginning to be out there sort of jogging and starting new sports, because the body's really feeling it needs it. And, and I guess just the fact that we can get out and be in nature makes it feel a very natural thing to want to do. And one practice in particular that's really helpful at this time is dry brushing, because that really helps move the lymph and just, allow the circulation to be really good and move things through. Okay. So that's really what I'd like to share with you today, just that overview, I think. Any questions, any thoughts? It's a great question, because often we will have a few things going on, just the way life is, we're going to have a few things going on. But that's what the lovely thing is about food, because, almost daily you can feel into what do I feel like? What does my body feel like today when you're working this way with food? And, often, so in my cookery, just for example, you know, something as simple as doing a soup or a stew, as you say, you then bring in the elements of what you're feeling for that time. So as you say, if you say you're feeling Kapha Vata, then you've got your beans and things doing the Kapha thing that you need, but then you can bring your root vegetables in, your sweet potato, your carrots or whatever, to help it be a very grounding meal. So in a way, what you're doing already, Viv, intuitively, is exactly listening to your body and giving it the balance that it needs. And, you know, so then from that, if you're thinking, well, actually, I'm feeling a bit heavy and stuck, you know, put a bit more pungent in or something, or, you know, have a side of wilted greens or something like that to really make sure that the, you know, astringent bitter side is sort of pulling things through. So, no, exactly that. It's that lovely combination. Yeah. Thank you. Lovely. Okay. So, I was going to end with a little meditation. Does that feel the right thing to do? Does that feel right for people? How's everyone feeling? Would you like that?
For
So
my
lovely.
part, Corinna, that sounds lovely, but I need to hop off now.
Oh,
Sorry.
you said it's wonderful
Yeah,
to see you twice in a day.
lovely to
Thank
meet you all and be here together.
you. Thank you, Charlotte.
See you
Lots of
again
love.
soon.
Bye. Lovely. Okay, so let's do a little meditation then. So I might just run over a bit because we're 20 past. Is that okay with everyone? If you have to sort of slip off, do, but obviously it'd be nice if you can be around for the meditation. Okay, so as it's a spring meditation, if anybody wants to have a little bit of their bergamot again, they can. I'm just going to have a big drink of water first. Okay, lovely. So if you have bergamot there and you would like, you could just maybe put on, oh no, where, I'm trying to think where would be a nice place to put. Okay, I'm going to introduce a new place to put her. Just because I'm feeling what I'm feeling in myself, I don't know if anyone's feeling, is this real need to just allow even more lightness through my chest to, you know, any old mucus that's feeling a little bit, it just needs to be on its way. And on, how can I do this discreetly? If you go to your collarbone and just feel under it, there's a place here, so on my outside it's about here, where you're naturally, your fingers, if you just go like that, your fingers just sort of sit in there. They're like little gaps. So if you go under there, and you could even do it crossed over like this, make sure that you have the smell as well, and just nestle. I mean, you could even do it with your first fingers. It doesn't need to be little fingers. And also it's quite nice because it's almost like you're hugging yourself. So just really settle in there. And I think this is L1, I think this is lung 1. So it's all connected to the lung meridian and helping things move on their way. Lovely. So just inviting you to really settle in your space and thanking you for being here. And just let all I've shared, just let it all go. Just let it all sort of waft away. It'll be in you somewhere when you need it. So just let it go now and really just feel into your body. Just feel where your hands are. And just feel that lovely connection with yourself, that real, even though your hand's just resting there like a gentle caress of you, taking this time for you. and really caring for you. And as you settle, just tune into your breathing. Just feel your body and feel your breathing. And just become aware of where you're sitting, how you're sitting. And just feel the connection with the chair, the floor. And just feel yourself really grounded and present in this space. And just let yourself be held here, right now. And just notice if you can still smell bergamot. And just imagine her colour, her cold pressed rind. It's like a lovely greeny yellow, like the colour of early spring light. Just see if you can imagine her. And just feel the lightness and the potential of being open to life, and that it feels really safe to be open to life. So just bring your awareness to your chest. Just feel how your chest is, and it may be you notice a heaviness, a tightness, and it could just be a neutral space. Just notice. So nothing you have to do, but just notice. And in Ayurveda, Kapha lives in the chest. So the Kapha's in the lungs, in the heart, all around that area there. And it's also can be connected to what we hold on to. And spring can really begin to soften this place. So just see if you can feel real softening through your body, through your chest. And if there's just one thing that may have been circling, a feeling, a pattern, or something that you could just let go of, just see if your breath can carry that away. So don't force anything, and it's fine if nothing is there. But just see if you can invite a feeling of lightness and a refreshing feeling of renewing and letting go. Now just bring your awareness down to your tummy, your solar plexus, just around that area there. And just really feel the ground of your body. Feel your substance and your connection to earth again. And as you feel this connection to the earth, just begin to imagine spring around you. So not as an idea, but if you can imagine it like something you're inside of, like a garden. Like you can see light coming through the trees or blossom. And really connect it with the earth beneath you. Feel its soft, mossy abundance and the full potential. So just allow this feeling of renewal and again, if you can let go of anything that may be ready to be let go of. Just see if you can feel a little lighter, a little bit more open. A little bit more soft. And just allow your body to recalibrate. So you might feel your energy moving around a little bit. Just see if you can sink into that and allow that. And see if you can really allow yourself to feel into that whole idea that you've got all the time that you need. The potential is here, but there's nothing you have to do. You can just rest in this peace and this knowing. And that all is very well. All is very well. Maybe just connecting to the fact that you're not alone and we're here as a group, and feel the lovely peace and love and community that's gathered here and the support. And you might even want to feel in beyond that. Allow yourself to feel the wider world around you. And then just come back to yourself. Just feel how you are. And you can be in this wonderful place of timelessness, no pressure, nothing you have to do. And that actually everything's all right. So if you each stay with yourself, just know that we're coming towards the end of the meditation. Just feel this lightness and know that you can carry it with you as you step forward into spring. And take your time, but when you're ready, just feel your body, feel where you are in your room, and then very gently wiggle your fingers and toes or have a good stretch. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your beautiful presence and your kind attention to all I've shared. For those who would like to join what's going on in April, I will just mention that we're meeting on the Thursday the 16th of April for our Bergamot session, for anybody who'd like to join me there. It's very exciting because it's the first proper program, part of a 10-month journey, over 10 months and 10 oils, which you can enjoy in single sessions. So just come along for Bergamot, see how that is. But for those who'd like to come on the 10 oil journey, which is a real deep dive in emotional support, so real nervous system settling, then that's a special container because it has the Enchanted Garden Sanctuary, where we will share reflections, ask questions, and I will go deeper into the meridians and different protocols. And then at the end of the month, we have our Kapha cookery. So we'll be putting all of those pungent, bitter, astringent aspects into our meals so that we can feel lighter and brighter. And I'll be sharing ways, not just on that menu, but just the different ways you can bring that in and support yourself, and also with dosha modifications if people are pitta vata or whatever. So just to say that. But it's all info is in the platform. But it'd be wonderful to see and be with whoever would like to join me.